Folks, today is December 30th. What does that mean? We are on the, well, not fully. You may think we're on the final stretch, but actually my mind about the final stretch is a little bit different. But we have 2 days until the new year, until the solar calendar new year. And which means tomorrow is New Year's Eve. And we're expecting a message from True Mother and a celebration with True Mother, so look out in your emails for that. But, you know, final stretch is interesting. Is anyone a runner? Like you ran? You did running in some capacity? Okay. So I've talked about this before, but I want to reiterate it because to me, it's heavenly. It's heaven. There's a moment when you're running. You're in the race. And you're doing a 400 meter or a 1,600 meter or whatever you may be doing. You're running a mile. For me, it was a mile, 1,600 meters, 4 times around the track. And you get to the final lap, and you get through the final lap, and you go around the back stretch, the one that's, towards the back end, and you come around and you reach the final stretch, or you call it the home stretch. This, I always say this, but this is, in my opinion, what makes or breaks a runner. This is what, actually, you know your character in that moment. You want to expose your character? Well, one, go out fundraising. Then you'll know your character real quickly. The reality of where you're at in your life. And I think it's genius. In the same way, do something like this, like a competitive run. And you will know your character when you reach the final moment. That final stretch, that last 100 meters, defines everything, in my opinion. It doesn't matter whether you're first place or 7th place. I've been in all places. Sometimes you're dead last. It doesn't matter. Those things don't matter to God at all, in my opinion. When I think about God's heart as a parent, just the reality is some people have more natural talent. Some people have less natural talent. Some people had more time to actually, have been running for years. Some people haven't been running for years. But that final moment is everything. It's everything. Because you decide in that moment whether to give up or to race, like everything is on the line. And I cannot describe, it's very hard to describe the feeling. Your body is dead, exhausted. Whatever exhaustion you felt in your life, multiply that bad boy. It times it by 10. This is the moment where you've given everything for 4 laps. For me, it's 4 laps. 4 laps. It's just 1,500 meters. You've reached this point, and you have 100 meters left, and there's nothing left in your body. Your brain is gone. It's just gone. Actually, the problem is with people in this final stretch, if they're too much in their brain, koskehyang, you know what I'm talking about. If you're too much in your mind, too much thinking, and then actually you're just not going to make it. You're just not going to make it. You don't have it. Runners prepare themselves, right? Athletes prepare themselves for this moment. All that training, all that pushing to the very last minute. My coach was 350 pounds. He was my cross-country coach, and he was a 350-pound linebacker in football. And all of us were wondering for 4 years, why are you coaching cross-country? You have no integrity at all. Like, what are you doing? But he's the coach. Anyway, they couldn't find another coach. They got this guy. But he'd do this stuff to us. Man, I swear I could probably sue him. I could probably take him to court later on, now that I know I know how to work a lawsuit now. I could probably do it because we get through our race. We're training. We run 13 miles a day, this sort of thing. And you know what he does? He doesn't run with us. He doesn't even bike with us. What he did was he showed up at the halfway. You get to the halfway mark, you turn around, you come back, right? And he'd show up at the halfway mark in his truck. And he had the audacity. He'd give us popsicles. Halfway through. He'd come, he'd roll up, he's eating something, and he'd have popsicles, and he's handing us popsicles. I'm like, get out of here. I just ran 15 miles. I got 15 more. You're crazy. But then we'd get back, And this is what I mean by final stretch and what you train for. We get back and we do all this training, all this conditioning, and then he'd have us do something else. You're exhausted. You're like, I just ran 13, 15 miles, and you want me to do another, and he'd have us do like an 800 meter or another mile at fast speed. Did your coach ever do this to you? It's training. Or he'd say, oh, you have 12, you have 2 left, and then you'd reach and you finish 2, and you think, I'm done. And he said, actually, we have 1 more. And you're like, please, how about you run once in a while? You're like, oh, you get so, but then, the reality with like high school sports is half of the people don't do anything. They just choose to walk it. They're just like, the coach is going to make us do another mile. Okay, I'll just walk it. But then those of us, and I'm proud to say I was one of those who tried. I was a try-hard. Is you train for that. You trained and you push yourself. You do it again. And it's all for this moment, because this moment is everything. It's everything for your pride. It's everything for your team. Even if you are in dead last, what you choose to do in the final moment defines your stature as a man or a woman. It defines you, because that's your character right there on the page. But if you think too much, you can't get there. So when your body's exhausted and you have nothing left, you have to access something that I call, this is why I say it's heavenly. You have to let go. This is a special moment, right, Daniel? You have to let go of your physical self. And you allow your entire spiritual life. You think I'm crazy, but running is very spiritual. Sports, exercise, all of it, athletics, it's very spiritual. In that final moment, you let go of your physical self and you surrender completely. And the reality is you don't actually run any faster. You don't actually go faster. You're already exhausted. Your body is at its limit. It's let go. But you gave everything. You don't slow down. And you run through, and you know when someone is given everything, when at the end of it all, they collapse. They fall to the ground. And you have nothing left. And all it is you can't feel anything, and you're gasping for breath. and then people come at you and they congratulate you. They're like, yeah. And you're like, it's just, I did it. We did it. This is it. That's the final stretch. I don't believe we've reached that point yet. I believe, for True Mother particularly, we have reached the last 100 meters. When we go into 2024, this is it. This is our last 100 meters. This is the moment that makes and breaks us as a movement. And you can feel that, right? As a movement, many people feel like it's kind of crumbling here and there. Things are falling apart. We have to sell this property, sell that, or Japan is being still persecuted. We have these lawsuits with UCI. We have things here going on. We have issues all around, and it feels like everything is going against us. I tell you, when you're on that last final stretch, everything is against you. Literally all of the universe is pushing against you. And you have to decide whether you choose to continue, whether you choose to keep going. This is that moment that defines your character as a person, as a man, as a woman. It determines everything. So I imagine True Mother's in this situation. I can't imagine Mother running, but I can see her in a spiritual battle. She's kind of in this final stretch. She's rounding the bend, and we're going to step into a new year. And we're looking basically at 2025. We're looking at the future. And this is that final bend in the road, final 100-meter stretch to realize one particular thing. And what is that thing? North and South Korea unity. Right? That's the vision. That's her dream. That's her goal. And she knows that we have to build a future as well. It's not just the unity of North and South Korea. We also have to build the substance of our movement in all locations. So she's making a huge investment into the next generation right now, a huge investment. She's sending those next generation to America to be trained in witnessing and church outreach and all sorts of things, All of this is to prepare a future for us. It's a long-term thing she's doing. But for her and her mission, this is the final stretch. I can feel True Mother's heart in this. It's like you got nothing, but you choose to keep going. And that's what, in that light, I think it's important that we start our year right. It's, of course, this is New Year's, so we have an opportunity to reflect and take time. And we want to open up the year with power, with fire, with energy, with something that's exciting. That's why we're starting the year with Peace Cup. We're holding a sports festival here in LA. And, admittedly, like our team, we're just kind of, what do you call that? This has been my word recently. You're jerry-rigging it together. You're just like, we're picking up the pieces as we go along, and we're just, it's like connects, or Legos. We're just trying to build this structure that makes sense. And our team, awesome work, Hitoe Nuna and Madoka Mikuni and Kazumi-san, and our whole team and Bay Area and Vegas. And we're just throwing this together. It's like we're meeting these artists, we're meeting these top people. We're going to the Clippers. The Clippers are going to come, and they're helping to collaborate with us. The LA Galaxy, we show up at their doorstep. We have nothing to prove of ourselves. It's just like, so what's your budget? What do you need? Or what's your plan? What are you going to do on, what's your plan on January 5th? What's the nuance? What's the detail? We're like, we're going to play soccer. We don't know what we're doing. We're going there with just our hearts. We're just, our heart is on the table. But then they respond to it, right? And then they respond, and then at first, they're like, and then the next time they meet us, then they say, wow, yeah, we're on board with that. We love the vision. We're down with that. And so then we start working with people like the professional soccer team of Los Angeles. These things are, to me, they're God working. But we're just throwing it together. But the reason is because we understand that there is a final stretch that we're dealing with. We have the opportunity now to choose whether to make this next year special. Even something we don't imagine it to be. I serve as like a chief of staff for ACLC, right? Even we're looking at ACLC, and for 21, 23 years, we've basically done the same thing with ACLC, right? We are great at copy and paste. And I know, the effort's there, all of our investments there, but this is what we're good at, right? We're very good at this. Even now, we're totally rewriting how we're going to approach this. Who are even the leadership? How do we navigate this year? And I think we have to do the same in our own lives. We have to relook at how we're going to grow. We cannot be comfortable with the space that we're in. You may have a nice job and all sorts of things laid out for you. You may have the way that you've been running CARP for all this time, or you may have, I'm like looking at people, I'm not meaning to like actually point at anyone, right? You may be a student and you have a way that you've been doing things. You may think that you have the future that you expected to have, and now you have to change that future, right? There's so many things that we get very comfortable with. It's just the way that we walk. It's just that. We've gotten into a mode or into the rhythm of things. But I tell you, the rhythm of things doesn't pull you through that 100 meters. It doesn't. You have to let go of everything that you thought you were right about. And you have to allow room for something divine to enter, something truly beyond you. Beyond you. So let's try running a Peace Cup. Sure, let's do whatever it takes because we have a final stretch to reach. I'm filled with different ideas sometimes. And I'm so grateful for Chuncheon because I get to pray about them, and then God tells me if they're bad, That and Takayo. Like anything that's just bad, if I run it by Takayo and she's like, Kobe that into the trash, right? Like that's done. She's the litmus test, right? And we have all sorts of things that we can expand. And now we have God's direct ownership over things to explore that. At the same time, we have to have alignment. We need to know where we're headed. It's a cool thing to just flow in all directions, and people love to do it. And I encourage it. I encourage people to try new things. But also, we don't need to rewrite a wheel if there's a structure, if there's a direction we're headed, if we're given a direction. You don't want to run the 100-meter in a whole different other direction. You want to head towards the actual end goal. There's a stretch here, and so I think it's important as we end the year. I just want to share some of Mother's precious words to us from a few days ago. I've shared them before, but I want us to hold on to them. I spent the last 2 days doing the lectures for Winter Workshop for the youth, and this was the content. We read this every single lecture. Just rereading this particular word from our true mother. Why? Well, because we believe in our true mother. For those that are new here, welcome. We're a Los Angeles Family Church, Family Federation. We believe that Father and Mother Moon were called and sent by God on the foundation of Jesus Christ to bring about world salvation through families. That's what we believe. And we believe in Mother Moon's word and what she wants to communicate. So this is what she says. It is my wish, as the only begotten daughter, the true mother, and Wang Oma, which means grandmom, that all of you, as pure water, grow well, become leaders who are fully equipped in every respect and who can spread our Heavenly Parents' dream across the earth. Our original ancestors were unable to fulfill their responsibility in front of our Creator's hopes. I call you to do differently and to unite in absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience with your Wang Ummah. She goes on to say, to do so, you must firmly understand who you are. There are many impure waters in the world, so you must clearly recognize your identity. You must know that your responsibility as pure water is to move forward toward the broader world and not be distracted by your surroundings. If pure water becomes stagnant, it eventually becomes contaminated and is discarded. I hope that together with true parents, you will go forward in a straight line toward a heavenly, unified world. Aju? Powerful words. So I think there's a few things we hold on to here. First of all, she acknowledges that she wants us to continue to be like pure water, especially the next generation. You guys are like pure water. You're born in the era of Chanyoguk. You're raised in the era of Chanyoguk. You're raised in this special time. And you're like pure water. You're different from the water that's in the world that's all murky and all sorts of confusion. Because we have a principle, we have a direction, and we have someone that's guiding us towards there. Then she suggests that we should also grow well. You can flow well, but you also need to grow well. You need to cultivate yourself, develop yourself, especially when it comes to your spiritual self. And then become leaders. What does she say? Fully equip yourself in every respect. What does that mean? We have to develop skills. We have to develop capacity to make a difference. We actually have to become good in our fields, whatever that field may be. It's an interesting thing. I play basketball twice a week, sometimes with Daniel. And it's for my exercise, sure. But also, when I show up at Peace Cup, I want to prove to other people that I know what I'm talking about, that I'm good. Like that. You don't. If I show up, say I'm in class, say I'm in college, and I'm trying to testify to be a CARP leader, and my grades are falling apart. A lot of us know this realm. This is tough. You feel like your integrity is challenged, right? I'm supposed to be this spiritual leader. Follow me. I'll show you the way. By the way, I'm flunking the class. Like, where's my integrity? Like, where's my standard? My standard as a person. Of course, the realities are that oftentimes we spend more time witnessing than we do studying. Pray. Just pray hard. But at the same time, we have to be the best. If you're in an occupation, then it's not, yourself, your body, your whole entire being is not happy to just be satisfied with being sort of okay at whatever you're doing. You want to be able to explore the best of your ability. I'll admit, not all of us are destined to be the best in our field. We may not have the qualities or, sort of things, but certainly we can be the one who invests the most, the one who pours out the most of our efforts, who's the one hustling the most and dedicating the most and giving the most. That person is the person who's the best. That person is the one that others look at and they say, wow, that's the leader. That's the leader. And so, True Mother's encouraging us to do differently from the world, do differently from our ancestors, with absolute faith, absolute love, absolute obedience, with our heart as the center, together with our true parents. But then she goes into this and she says, to do so, you need to firmly understand who you are. Who are you? This was my question to the Winter Workshop participants. Like, who are you really? And then some kid raised his hand. He's like 10 years old. And he was like, I'm cool. I was like, that's right. We'll take it. He got really sheepish. He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, that's who you are. But really ask yourself, who are you? Do you recognize your identity? You must know that your responsibility as pure water is to move forward toward the broader world, the greater world that's out there, and not be distracted by your surroundings. But if you don't know who you are, it's so easy. It's so easy for the world to tear you apart. It is so easy. So to know who you are is an important question. So there's a few things that we're bringing up here. Be like pure water, so you want to have a pure heart. You want to grow well. You want to become a leader. But all of this is grounded in the point of identity. Who are you? And so this is the big question for us, especially as we go into this year. True Mother's big question to us is, who are you? Because if you can get this, then the rest of it will come naturally. It will come by default. If I know my stature as a child, who I am as a person, then I'm willing to go out into the realms of those other areas, to be like pure water, to grow well, to become a leader. All those things stimulate from this point about identity. So, this is a very aesthetic photo of me. This is an interesting, everyone's on their journey of discovering their identity. Who are you really? To answer this question. I myself had to answer this question. What does it mean, particularly for me? I was born in this movement, so we call us second generation. What does it mean to be a second generation? What is the value of even being so? We've seen a lot of challenging things in our movement, but can we hold on to the essence of what it means to be this? What does it mean to be a son of true parents? A daughter of true parents? Identity is huge. And when you find your identity, you naturally come to a realm of boldness and courage, strength in the face of adversity. You're able to stand so firm, so strong, you can do crazy things like graffiti, the mother of peace on a car. My mother-in-law just, what did you do? How dare you? Okay, there's a spot in Texas. As Takaya and I were road tripping across Texas, we stopped at this spot, and you can graffiti these cars. So we're not vandals, don't worry. But we're proud. I'm the most proud. All my friends know I am a Mooney. I am a son of true parents, and I'm proud of it. Say what you want about true parents. I've said everything that you've said already. Challenge me on anything that you want to read on the internet about them. And I know exactly how to respond because I am their son. And if you talk to my mom, you talk to my dad, and you say anything, my parents aren't perfect, and nor do I claim that true parents are necessarily infallible people. But I stand with my true parents. I'm bold, I'm proud, because I know my identity as my father's son. I know who I am. And there's nothing you say is going to touch that. So know who you are. Explore it. If this year is a year of finding who you are, then that's great. Because that's what our True Mother is asking us to find. How do you find who you are? How do you get to that realm? It's interesting. When you know who you are, when you find your identity, when you really embrace it, you attract incredible people. Beautiful people come around. I love this moment. We're leaving New York and moving back to LA, and just the beautiful family that's there. Just because we know who we are. We attract beautiful family, community. This community that we have here only exists. How we were raised, many of us were raised here, or kind of being reborn through this community here. All of it is built on the idea that we are children. We're all children of the same parents. It's a beautiful thing. So we have to ask the question, who am I? And if you want to explore it, admittedly, and all of us are in this boat, even if you've been in this movement for 50 years, you have to ask, first of all, the question of who is God? And we have to constantly explore our relationship with God. That's why we do HJ Chambo. How many times have you done Chanyang? How many times have you done Ansu? How bruised is your face? The most difficult is right here. Oh, so painful, like right here. How many times have you done it? Why do we continue to go back and to try and try and try again? And we feel so good afterwards because we're constantly searching for our relationship with God. We're constantly fighting for it. We're longing to grow closer to God. We ask the question, who is God? You want to find your identity in this year and stand firm, and you know that wherever you walk, people look at you and they're like, holy smokes, this man knows who he is. Then you have to ask the question of who is God. And we know God. We know God. This is a beautiful painting. It's actually by the Mormons. I don't know how that makes anyone feel. This was painted in the 1980s. It's called In Their Image. And you see, God is the duality of masculinity and femininity, the internal nature, external form. In other words, God is our heavenly parent. God is our heavenly parent. And so the question of who is God is in understanding God is our heavenly parent, your heavenly parent. God is your heavenly parent, and discovering that. So I hope, as we look at New Year's resolutions or goals and things, we have to make sure that we set clear spiritual goals that are intended to bring us closer to God somehow. Don't skip over. Some of you have these goals. I want to make 50K, or that's actually I don't know. Okay. I have a goal, I want to get this job, or I want to get good grades, or I want to, even you can say, I have a goal, I want to be a great carp leader, and I want to, this sort of thing. But if you miss the goal of your internal work that you need to do, actually, those things will not amount. Those things, maybe you'll reach them, but you won't find the actual core of your core. So please set goals that are to do with your relationship with God. We know how to do this. Conditions of faith, doing things that, making a choice to do something that really brings you closer to God, making that kind of goal. I hope you guys can choose something like that. And of course, our true parents are a direct reflection of that. And so the question of who we are is very simple, of course. We are God's children, and we know we're God's children because we've been reborn through true parents. They gave us new life, and they gave us the opportunity to be a part of God's family. And that makes us something very special. It makes us Kosuke. Welcome to LA. Please stay forever. Absolute, unique, eternal, and unchanging. That's what it makes us. Many of you were at Kambashi-san's lecture, so you heard this. And something he expressed to us that was really interesting. He said, this is not something you earn. There's no investment in this at all. This is something you realize. When you discover your identity, you discover that you're absolute. You're unique. A little too unique sometimes. You're eternal. And you're unchanging. And that doesn't mean necessarily that you can't grow. It means the core of your core. So I'm on this journey myself. I'm in a constant state of discovering my relationship with God, to understand how absolute I actually am, how unique I'm too unique. Eternal, how eternal I am, how unchanging I am. This is a question of value. This is about value. as a man, as a woman, as a daughter, as a son, to feel totally valued by God. And so what does the divine principle say about value? By the way, this is a summarization of all my lectures that I gave the last 2 days to Winter Workshop. So I'm just kind of going through. But what does it say? It says the value of an entity intended at its creation is not fixed as an inherent attribute. Rather, it is established or realized by the mutual relationship between the purpose of the identity according to God's ideal of creation and people's original desire to treasure it and bring out its true worth. Whoa. All of us who've studied the divine principle, when you read this section, there's a reason we decide to skip it. You're like, we go to section 5. That one makes more sense. And so we've gotten comfortable with skipping original value. In LA, we don't skip original value, achoo. Because this is everything. Actually, to me, this section in the principle, which Mother is asking us to go back to the principle of creation, go back to chapter 1 and read it, study it. If you haven't connected to God in a long time, whip open chapter 1 of the divine principle and give it a shot again. Read these words again. This is the most healing thing that humanity could receive. This is the essence of all that therapy that they offer, which is healthy for people to realize. But it's written right there, is that we have a value that is established by God. God establishes the standard of our value. But you cannot feel that. You cannot realize it unless, one, you understand your purpose and you seek to bring it about. People's original desire to treasure that purpose and bring out its true worth. It's for us and it's for things. So that's why in the principle it suggests that we should consider a rose. Consider a rose. That this rose on the side of the street that no one cares about is beautiful, but only in the eye of a human being. We're the only ones that determine whether a rose is beautiful. We're the only thing that has the potential value. The standard of its value is there, but unless we acknowledge it, it doesn't fulfill its value. So the same with our identity. I am a child of God, but it has to be acknowledged. Has to be acknowledged. And even more so, it should be acknowledged by others. People should see, wow, that is a child of God. And then its value is realized. And we fulfill our purpose. This is our value. I've been trying to tell my wife this too. You have a Nintendo Switch. What is the value? Of course, this has unlimited value, right? Incredible potential. God designed it. But if I just leave it over there and I don't play it, Moses, if I don't go over there and play it, it doesn't fulfill its value. Isn't that sad? We're stretching now. We're stretching. It's sad. Look, Mario's like, Peace Cup's also featuring esports. We have a Melee tournament. I see you, brother. We have a Melee tournament, Smash Bros. Tournament, and also Mario Kart. You can enroll for Mario Kart, but you're going to lose because Jun Muranaka is playing. This value is not realized unless someone comes and acknowledges it and fulfills its purpose. So I feel it's the same for us in all things of creation. Try to be part of something bigger than themselves. Everything is trying to realize its purpose, not for the sake of itself, but for the sake of something that's bigger than itself. And the universe is testifying to this constantly. This is called, does anyone know what this is? This is the largest thing in the universe. It's called the Great Wall, or Borealis. I forgot. It's something Borealis. Hercules Borealis. It's the largest thing in the world. You know how long it is? Can anyone guess? It's 10 billion light years long. It'd take you 10 billion years to go from one end to the other. And the thing that's pulling it together is they're just gravitationally connected to each other. It's called the Great Wall. It's the biggest thing we know of in the world. Yet, it's still part of a bigger thing. It's still part of a bigger universe and part of a bigger purpose than just the amazingness of it, what it is right now. And it's the same with everything in creation. We look at this forest, and what do we see? Individual trees, right? These beautiful trees. But actually, when you go deeper and you look underneath the soil, what you get with these trees is they're all actually interconnected. They call it the web of trees, right? The worldwide web of trees or something. They're all connected to each other. They're all pursuing something that's bigger than themselves. They're sending data to each other, just like the internet, sending data of how to survive, how to better survive, how to manage the current circumstances. They're talking. It's like Lord of the Rings. They're talking to each other. This world is so much more than just one individual person. Our value is realized in the relationships that are around us. So our identity is, I am a child of God, but also I am with other children of God. And so I hope that we can explore that too. As you ask the question, who is God? And you're exploring your identity and discover how you are a child of God, but also how you can take care of the people around you better. How can you take care of the people around you better? So this is the core point. And I hope that we can reside there. But also True Mother asks us to grow well as well, right? To grow, to cultivate ourselves, to develop ourselves. And I can't go through a lot of this, but True Mother's hoping that we won't just settle with where we're at now. As we cross into that last 100 meters of True Mother's mission, I hope we can take the opportunity to really do things that help us grow our character, grow our heart, grow our faith. So I know everyone's going to take some time to do goal setting, or you're going to go to workshops and things, and you're going to have an opportunity, and I encourage everyone to do it. Takai and I are going to go out, and we're going to spend a few days to do the same thing. And I hope that we can feel our True Mother's heart and of what she's trying to communicate with us. Yeah. So I think we received a lot today. So I'm going to stop here, and I hope that we can take that where we want to take it. And I want to make a final push. Next week, we do not have Saturday service. On Friday night at 5 p.m., we're going to be all together at LA Galaxy. Saturday, we'll be here all day, and we're going to have just things for people to do, and we'll have experiences for people who are not playing sports. But we'll be playing volleyball. We'll have the esports tournament next Saturday. And then on Sunday, we have church at Cal State LA. But I want us to feel the purpose of it more than anything. Why are we, pulling tooth and leg to do this? I really believe that we are called to support our True Mother in the bigger vision. Just like these trees, they're connected to something bigger. I hope in understanding that we are as children, that we actually are part of a bigger purpose, some bigger, greater thing that we can do. And true parents have been bold in proclaiming that they want to see North and South Korea united. So as we end the year, prayerfully think about that. Think about her vision. Call it crazy. I encourage you actually to challenge God on it. Say, actually, I don't resonate with it. Good. Let's talk about it with God. Spend time to actually think about the gravity of what True Mother's trying to do. She's trying to bring two countries back together. Holy moly. She needs help. She's not going to do it by herself. Jesus isn't going to descend from the clouds and just bring everybody together on the DMZ. There is going to be an investment made, an incredible dedication, a final stretch where we have to let go of our physical selves and choose to go into a realm where we're filled with much greater power. And when we do that, we can support her. So when we do this Peace Cup, and however, whether you're playing or you're not, let's have that kind of heart, because our goal is to host Peace Cup in North Korea. That's our goal. We want to have a youth sports festival in North Korea as part of our effort to support our True Mother in uniting North and South Korea. So as you resonate with that, let's set good goals to be like pure water, to grow well, to become leaders, starting with the question of who is God and who am I? Aju? Let's have an amazing New Year's, everybody. You are awesome. We love you. And we'll see you next year. Thank you.